Tayo, Part 3, God Man, God Man, கடவுள் மனிதன். ஆத்தர் தயாநிதி சுவாமி சரவணானந்தா, திண்டுக்கல். அருட்பெருஞ்சோதி அருட்பெருஞ்சோதி தனிப்பெரும் கருணை அருட்பெரும் ஜோதி. Chapter 2, Soul. Soul. The reasoning mind of man, looking into this world around, finds many objects and natural scenes. The changing scenes attract his mind and help him to choose a suitable life. A wise and a good man cleverly handles everything and acquaints himself with everybody to make a happy life. His reasoning mind makes him love all coming to please him. He thinks positively that there must be some wise and unseen intelligent agent working from in and out of him. That supreme agent must be a sole cause and effect of all the changes going on externally. And again, that the agent should be a permanent and never changing supreme being. Looking at the blazing sun on the sky above, he gets revealed of some secrets of the worldly creations. It is known to him that our planet and others of the solar system have come out of that great sun. On this earth, every being, whether it is animate or inanimate, is affected by that sun's rays. At every moment, the solar energy is working to bring out all the changes of this world. At the same time, that sun alone is shining without any change for millions and millions of years. The human mind alone is able to understand that the solar energy working for some higher intention of the great Lord of this universe. According to the external expression of this universe, the internal force should be commanding potentially, lest the universe should collapse. That internal energy of some divine quality is in itself termed as the soul or the real self. This is the permanent living particle in the world of multi creations. All the creations of form or body is brought up and kept for the time being. That period of this formation around a soul atom may be either a moment or many long years. So long as the soul power is kept unrealizable by a living soul of man, it is continuously surrounded by a certain physical come subtle body according to its development. To that soul, a suitable body comes to form around by the attraction of the life force set on the material particles of the world. Until that life energy is working from the soul, the body around is in living condition and therefore it grows and undergo many changes. No sooner that life energy is cut off than the body becomes a dead matter and begins to decay. From all these experience, we can infer that the soul is the main entity in this human life. In other words, the man may be represented as a soul being. In reality, the man is soul being of eternity. We should not consider him to be a physical alone. We should not consider him to be a physical alone. Out of this misconception, almost all people of the world are wrongly viewing the humanity from time immemorial. After some time, when the soul knowledge opened his inner or psychic eye, the man came to know that his real self was the soul and not the physical body of passing life. Then the physique or the body was not taken care of and looked after by the spiritualist who tried to hold himself in the soul abode detached from the bodily shed. His life was not useful to general public. His speculation of the soul being was never experienced to permanency, as far as he was glowing from within his human form, along with his knowledge of soul or self. The soul was with him, and then it was completely vanished when the body is separated. Therefore, it is clear that the soul alone is not the whole to make a man, and the existence of the eternal soul cannot be acknowledged without this human life. Subheading: the soul and its work spot. The soul and its work spot. We know all about the physical bodily creation and its different functions. There are abundant books written by the many masters to give out vast knowledge of these bodily sciences, psychology, and anatomy. But there are rarely found a few spiritual scientists to explain all about the soul and its working secrecy. Because the soul is not visible and sensible to man, he is unable to recognize the soul as easily as he does other things. When a great spiritual master by his severe penance and yoga sadhana experiences his experiences his soul power working in his body, he tries to explain something about the soul. He feels that the soul power is acting from the heart center, from where his life energy is flowing to all parts of his body. His life is beating to light up all the senses. When that beating stops, the heart ceases to function. The man is said to be dead. So it was thought that the soul, which was working from the heart, had disappeared mysteriously. The form of the soul was taken to be spiritual one, filled in the human body and felt by the master himself. But the real source is not in the heart. On the other hand, it is mysteriously existing and functioning from the center of the head. This center is the true main station of all the spiritual, mental, and dynamic powers. From the center, the heart gets its basic vital forces and powers to live and develop into this world. In the center of the head, The station for soul autumn is to be discovered by spiritual experience. By no other means, the existence of the soul autumn is to be found out. This autumn is purely of divine spirit from which most mysterious force is eternally functioning for the highest universal divine purpose. The indweller of the soul is but the Almighty Himself. It must ever be borne in mind that the all powerful God is eternal by existing in the soul atom. Here lies the secret of all the secrets. The scientific mind is just able to comprehend the immense power to be released from the material atom. The spiritual man of tomorrow is to discover the divine force to be inherited from the soul atom. Until the end of the last century, the atomic power was not dreamt of. So, also, this soul power was in the same stage of obscurity or non existence. But this was imagined and got into experience by the yogic masters. They, in their seclusion, got in the high spiritual plan, and by their contact of the soul being, they acquired some extraordinary powers to do some miraculous deeds. That wonderful power is only a small bit of the divine in that soul abode. It was natural to him who merged in it for the time being, just like an iron nail kept in contact with the magnet. It will be magnetized and then it can attract some other iron fillings. But the charged magnetism will not be existing permanently. After a certain time, it will vanish. This may be taken to explain that yogi's spiritual attainment. The nail does not become the magnet itself. So also the yogi never becomes the Godhead. Next subtopic, soul and the yoga siddhis. Soul and the yoga siddhis. The head station of our soul is our brain center. When the yogi realized that soul in the higher spot is completely immersed into it and forsaking his body, he attains a end or samadhi. This was the final emancipation of the yogi and all the other religious heads. But when he gets into the final stage, he lives for a short time in some spiritual exercises, which create in him some wonderful yoga siddhis. As we all know that our life energy is flowing from the center of the head to all parts of the body, we may understand that spiritual force and its knowledge too are descending from the top to the bottom of the spinal column and the six nervous center or adhars. When a master yogi wakes up the mysterious power in the lowest nerve center or Mooladhara, he is able to get some wonderful attainment by which he can perform some extraordinary miraculous deeds. Then, as he ascends, he obtains more and more power to spell out, but all ends when he merged into the last stage. There were many yoga siddhas in the past. The general public were greatly admiring those yogis and their attainments, but the result was not so attractive as there was not found a blessed life of stainless happiness. The highly developed yogi too was simply passing away just like a layman. Because of his wonderful attainment, the yogi was much praised by the surrounding people. Today, there are found no such yogis, and the worldly people too do not believe in those spiritual powers as in the past. Out of some faith, some religiousness worship the old miracle mongers. Till now, the soul abode is thought to be the eternal place of rest, and that soul is the lotus foot of God. When a man holds himself in the soul abode, detaching from the physical body, it was thought he attains the eternal rest. Since he loses his living body and dissolves into nothingness, there is found no soul experiencing life to him, because a mere soul alone cannot be making a complete life in this world or somewhere else. Though the soul is birthless and deathless, it is of no use to itself unless it is fully experiencing the life in this glorious human body. In no other form the soul lives fully. Therefore, when the soul leaves of the body, either by ordinary death or samadhi, it cannot be taken as living in oneness of God. To that divine life, one must be living the highest soul life without ever losing the body and getting it transformed into the form of His gracious light. Dayo. This will continue in the next part. Dayo.